But all right, you guys, let's dive into this badass news that we got today. It's so bad you'll almost want to fall off your seat like yeah, there you go. See, Raul, I told you I'd use that sound effect. Okay. So, our first main topic today. Sad news. I'm so sorry, everybody. This is Rick and Morty co-creator Justin Roiland is fired from everything. All right, so this comes to us from Kotaku, which is a fantastic name, by the way, for a news article place. Kotaku. The main voice behind Rick and Morty won't be returning in Season 7. Adult Swim announced on Tuesday that it would cut ties with series co-creator Justin Roiland, a decision that comes just weeks after news first surfaced that he was facing 2 felony domestic abuse charges from 2020. It goes on to say, the Rick and Morty account tweeted, or this is Rick and Morty's Twitter account, tweeted, Rick and Morty will continue. The talented and dedicated crew are hard at work on Season 7. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Roiland's voice roles will be recast and Dan Harmon will remain the sole creator through Season 10. Earlier this month, Roiland made a court appearance in an ongoing criminal case in California where he faces felony domestic abuse charges for battery and false imprisonment. The actor and showrunner has pled not guilty, but so far not publicly commented on the allegations. So, and this article told us on the 24th of January, it announced that Squanch Games released a statement revealing that Justin Roiland resigned from the company. And that's the company that makes all the video games that Justin Roiland works on.
Is he a founder of that company? Is he one of the founders?
He's a founder of that company, one of the founders. And on the 25th, Hulu, the Disney-owned streaming platform, drops Justin Roiland as well. Roiland was the co-creator and executive producer on Solar Opposites and a performer in Koala Man. Both Hulu animated series are now expected to go on without him. Raul, this is insane news, dude. Now, we're voice actors, so first thing I want to hear, Raul, from you is what do you think of this as a voice actor? Like, how do you look at this as a voice actor? And then how do you look at it just in general? Like, what do you think of all this, man?
Well, I mean, the situation coming from the perspective of a voice actor, I mean, if you're a voice actor, don't do any of these things.
Don't do any of those things.
I don't know. Well, I guess when you ask me from my perspective as a voice actor, you're specifically talking about the recasting process, I'm assuming.
Put chance, yeah.
Yes,
let's talk about that a little bit.
I don't know. I mean, as much of a downer as this whole situation is, it does seem like they do say the roles will be recast. Basically all of Justin Roiland's voices.
That's a lot of voices. He basically
does
voices
quite a bit.
Almost everybody in every show he's in.
Yes.
It's kind of crazy.
I mean, it's enough already that he's both the voice of Rick and Morty, the two main characters of the show. But he's got a whole bunch of other side characters too that he voices on a regular basis. I mean, this is inevitably something that they're going to look for a sound alike. You know, somebody who can do another voice actor who can do all of Justin Roiland's voices. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the next step in the process, is to find somebody who can do that. There are plenty of people out there on Instagram who I'm sure are chomping at the bit. Instagram, TikTok, sure are chomping at the bit to put themselves out there as the next voice of Rick and Morty. In fact, our buddy Brock Baker, he put out a funny post about like something along the lines of like, you know, I feel bad for the casting director who's now going to have to sit through all these bad Rick and Morty impressions now.
Hi, my name is John. This is my Rick impression. I'm Rick. Yeah, I'm Rick, baby. Yeah, hire me, baby.
Yeah, look, you know,
jeez, Rick, jeez. Like,
you're definitely right, though. I have seen so many people on social media now being like, okay, I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to be the next one.
Time to polish off my Rick and Morty impressions. Here we go.
But man, I think this has so much baggage alongside it, you know, because Justin Roiland, again, he is Rick and Morty. He is all these characters that we're about to just ignore his original voice, you know? And it's weird because this is one of those court, situations where he hasn't been announced as guilty yet, except when you hear about everything that's been going on behind the scenes, you can't help but have negative thoughts towards him.
It's still baggage, whether it comes out that he's innocent or guilty. it's still a lot of baggage, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And at least for the time being, you know, until that verdict comes out, you know, I'm sure Adult Swim is just looking to protect themselves a little bit, you know,
Yeah.
until that comes out.
I think those companies, they're all doing a great job making that decision, just because it's like, yeah, Squanch Games, you don't want to be associated with battery and, you know, domestic violence and stuff like that. Neither does Hulu, owned by Disney. Like, it's a no-brainer that these companies would want to retract. I mean, Justin Roiland, he himself resigned from Squanch Games, they announced.
That's right. He stepped down. That's correct.
So even Justin Roiland understands that this is just like a really dirty mess that he's put himself in. And, you know, it's not something that needs to be put out into the public any more than it already is, you know?
I don't think, because I have heard a lot of people, God, and you know, Rick and Morty fans are obnoxious sometimes. You know, obnoxious enough as it is sometimes, like the hardcore Rick and Morty fans. You know what I mean? Like the super, like, you know, the guys busting into McDonald's, demanding, screaming at McDonald's employees, demanding the Szechuan sauce that came back after it became popular from Rick and Morty. Remember those videos that were going around of people just like screaming at McDonald's employees? I'm talking about those Rick and Morty fans. That's the type of Rick and Morty fan I'm talking about. These guys, I've heard them just kind of go after Adult Swim and Hulu and all that stuff and just like attack them online and stuff. It's like, dude, these guys are totally within their right to distance themselves from Justin Roiland at this point. Like they're trying to protect their, you know, their product essentially. And so, you know, just seeing all this stuff, all the backlash from this super small but very vocal minority of Rick and Morty fans just attacking them online and
yeah, so I think, you know, again, it's a good thing that everybody's making the moves that they're making because of the situation. Once everything gets cleared up, if he's guilty, then he's guilty. That settles that. If he's innocent, then, you know, hopefully it won't affect his career as much that he won't be able to come back or something like that. But that being said, Rick and Morty, again, it's still voiced by Justin Roiland. Yes, there's a bunch of people online who can do great impressions, but I as a voice actor myself, I just feel bad for whoever's going to end up getting it next, because
it's a lot of pressure.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot to put on another performer who they know what they're putting themselves into. So, you know, maybe I shouldn't feel too bad because they're accepting it. They understand what the pressure's going to look like. But, you know, God bless you.
And just for a lot of you guys who might not know, I mean, this is the kind of process that this involves. This is not... It's not as easy as it may seem to a lot of people who kind of casually kind of follow this kind of stuff. This is not just somebody who can do an impression of Rick and Morty and just say all the lines and all that stuff. You got to check a lot of boxes, right? You got to be able to do the impression very convincingly, and you got to be able to sound like the voice very convincingly, but not just say, you know, the quotes and all that stuff. You know, you got to be able to improvise as, you know, the characters and all that stuff. And on top of that, you got to be able, I mean, voice acting, right? You got to be able to act, you know, your acting has to be very, very good and stuff. And this is not just a case of like, let's just find somebody on TikTok, whoever can do a, you know, Rick and Morty impression, a good Rick and Morty impression. Let's just hire them. No, there's a lot of boxes that need to be checked here. And so it's tough. I again, I would hate to be the casting director right now, going out and sifting through all these potential, you know, candidates here for, you know, to replace Justin Roiland. It's daunting.
I threw in the idea to our group chat of you know, Rachel and Marie, do a gender swap Rick and Morty of Rachel and Marie and see how that goes. But pretty sure
instead of Rick and Morty, it's Rachel and Marie.
Yeah, Rachel and Marie. But it's a dimensional thing, multi-dimensional. Maybe get
never know.
Some new dimensions, new seasons where it's a different dimension of Rick and Morty, but they're different genders. You know, or you know what I mean? That'd be kind of interesting.
That's within the realm of possibility with all the crazy interdimensional stuff they do. Sure.
Yeah, multiverse. It really does solve the problems for this show, and I think you know, they've got some directions to go in, although they don't have. Maybe, I don't know how Dan Harmon works alongside other people other than Justin Roiland when it comes to working on this project specifically. Does he get most of his jokes from Justin Roiland? I mean, I'm assuming not, just because
Well,
Dan
Dan
Harmon.
Harmon was the showrunner for. Sorry, Kevin, I didn't mean.
No, go ahead.
Dan Harmon was the showrunner for Community.
That's right. Yeah.
The show Community, and that's got a huge following, and it's a very good show. I've seen like the first 3 seasons of it, and it's a lot of fun, and it gets really crazy, kind of like almost to Rick and Morty level crazy sometimes, but it's done very tactfully and very well. It's executed very well. Yeah, I mean that's Dan Harmon right there. I mean, he does bring something to it. Not just Justin Roiland.
Yeah, so I think this is definitely a big deal for everybody. It's a big deal for animation. It's a big deal for performers and everything like that. But most importantly, it's a big deal for our own entertainment for what's coming in the future. Something to keep track of.
Now let me ask you, Kevin.
Yes, Raul.
Would you audition for these roles if you happen to get them?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I absolutely would not, because that's just a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
I don't want to be unpacking,
Yeah.
As an actor myself, it's that kind of thing where I'd rather be a fan of those main characters rather than be those main characters, because there's already so much pressure on that. Like they're technically now becoming legacy characters because someone else is going to try to have to take that same character and be able to perfectly voice match it. And we've seen a few people who are professionals who can do it really well, but would they want to do it as well? That's another question. If they can do it, and if they're willing to do it, then good for them. But I don't know. It's just not my speed. I don't think that's it's above my pay grade, is what I would say.
Even if I could do all the voices well, which I can't, but even if I could nail them all, I still don't want that kind of pressure.
Oh yeah,
I do not want that kind of pressure at all.
Yeah, there are so many other windows, way more opportunities in other places that you could go into to find the successes that you're looking for as a performer, and that's just a really rough road to go down at this point.
Yeah. So good luck to the next guy that takes over.